Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great today. Going into a wonderful weekend, and this weekend we're going to talk about Takara and how, looking back, we get to see everything with 2020 vision. We get to see how sinister Takara really has been over the years. In reality, we probably couldn't see it because we were in it, but now time has passed, and something with the passage of time is that we can definitely see what they did to us as masterpiece collectors. I'm not here to bash Takara at all, because they did some good stuff, so I will talk about the good stuff. But the sinister things, the tactics, the lack of clarity on guidance, there's a lot to this, but one particular figure truly brought clarity to why Takara was sinister about this. And I was going to title this Takara Sucks, but Takara doesn't really suck. It's more sinister than just that. And we'll talk about this. I hope I make it make sense. Hopefully I make a few dollars. Coming up. Alright, so those of you thinking I'm just going to bash Takara, I'm not, but I am going to point out a lot of real negative things that they've done. And where we're at now is kind of in flux, but we'll get into all of that. First thing I want to say is a positive, because I like to be positive. Takara did give us the masterpiece line, and they did a really good job on a lot of the figures. In fact, if you look at a display, at least 20%, if not 30% of almost every masterpiece display has Takara representations in the collection. Even if Fans Toys fanboys have Takara figures in there, because obviously Takara started. It's their baby. They began this. My first point is actually still not a negative yet. We're not to the negative yet. Takara decided to go from 12-inch to 9-inch, and that was me hating it forever. They did it in, I think, 2003 or 4. It took me till 2023 to accept it. And I'm serious. This whole time I thought we could see the resurgence of a 12-inch scale. And I'm glad they did it. I'm going to stop and say I'm glad they shrunk it down. That's been really hard for me to accept. But I accepted it in 2023. So for 3 years now, I've been, yeah, I agree. Now, the sinister part of this is MPO1 was Optimus Prime. And we got Optimus Prime, and that's great. Then we got Starscream, we got Skywarp, we got Thundercracker, we got Grimlock, and we got Rodimus before we got a correctly scaled Optimus Prime. But let me tell you this. MPO1, MPO4, MPO2, all those were that same first mold. I wouldn't have wanted an MP10 probably any sooner than this. And had they just waited for it to be 12 or something, okay, I could have been okay with waiting on that. But the weird part is, look all the way down to the bottom, MP36, we don't get a corrected Megatron until 2017 with the MP36. Now, that is a bit, in a way, sinister, because we're forced to either get a G1, which the G1 Megatron sucks. I mean, we all have our emotional attachment to it or whatever. I had one as a kid. I have 3, 5 now, whatever. But Megatron, we needed a good... MB36 rocks, though. But we waited, 6 more years and 26 slots before we were allowed to get a Megatron. And let me tell you this. I didn't get theirs. I had Apollyon. I had X-Transbot's Apollyon. So in the time being, we had all these other third parties fill in the slots. So that was sinister in itself to make us wait so long. And then when they came out, now this is where we were with Takara at the time. They would come out with something and it would just be so much better than anything else on the market. And I don't own the Make Toys, but I own X-Transbots and DX9. And I would say DX9, if you got like an upgrade kit for the lower legs, is probably the second best in existence. But Magic Square would blow them all out of the water if they upscaled theirs and did it, all that stuff. But still, this is where we were. This is what Takara was doing for their own line that they created when they dropped a release. It just blew everything out of the water, and nothing compared And since then, since 2017, almost 10 years, no company's made a Megatron. New Age made one to Store to Beast Studio Series. Nothing Masterpiece at all. And even X-Transbots has said they're going to do an Apollyon 2.0. No update on that. So the next Sinister move, the first one more or less, was the making us wait to get an appropriate Megatron. I didn't even talk about how crappy the 05 12-inch version was. It's still kind of fun. But then, in the meantime, we got figures like Grimlock, which Grimlock's great. It's a good figure. It's a great figure. The problem with Grimlock wasn't that Grimlock was a bad figure. He was undersized, underscaled, and we accepted that. We lived with that. The problem was more with this, the Scoria. Fans Toys somehow knew Takara was never, ever going to put out any more Dinobots and went hard on Dinobots right away. I don't know how they knew that. Scoria was one of the early ones. It says FTO4. And then it came with risers, or what they call booties, for Grimlock. So Takara had zero intention of ever going forward with a second Dinobot, let alone completing the whole team. Now, they did complete the team for Hasbro in the main line. And I could see from a business standpoint, okay, you know you're going to sell 200,000 of each of those because you're going to reissue them, recolor them, all that kind of stuff. But in the Masterpiece scale, all we got was Grimlock. Now, Grimlock, king, leader, everybody's going to want to buy a Grimlock. A lot of people are going to want to buy a Swoop. By the time you get down to the rest of them, not everybody wants to buy the rest of them. The funny thing is that Takara doesn't want to take a single risk, which in itself is sinister. When third-party companies that have less money, less visibility, less ability to sell out, but everything Takara produces eventually sells out. It eventually sells out. But even without that, even if they sit in stock at retailers online for 5 years, they got their money up front anyway, so they win. And here's the fun little picture of Grimlock with the booties on the back. But to not give us the rest of the Dinobots is sinister. But to just make Grimlock and know they'll never make another one? I mean, we all kind of thought, yeah, we could get a Swoop one day, or at least I did. So now I guess we're in the kind of mindset of they're never going to complete a team. And they'll put time, money, effort, resources into making a Masterpiece Transformer and know there's zero chance to get a team from them. A completed team. Now, when I bought this Starsaber back in whenever it was, 2015. Okay, 2015. They had no intention of ever making a Victory Leo. Evidently. And who knew that? I didn't know that. X-Transbots knew that. Well, X-Transbots, Keith is Keith's Fantasy Club and X-Transbots. He knew that. Now, I didn't know anything about Victory Leo. My friend Brian, who actually ordered several Starsabers because it was one of his favorite characters, and he explained the whole Victory Leo thing to me. I thought, oh, that's really cool. So we ordered together and saved money. That was an easy way to save money back in the day. But this character didn't mean much to me at the time. And still, with no chance of getting a Victory Leo, he thought Takara would give us one. He did. And he knew more about this. And I thought he had an inside track. We never got one. I kind of think at the time, KFC was a more premium version of X-Transbots. The figures had a little more paint on them. They had a little bit more sheen. It's a lot of metallic paint that looked really good, like with their Transistor. But they made a Victory Leo. Now, you got to stop and think, why would a company spend $75,000 or more with tooling and design to make a figure that could possibly be trumped by one of these the greatest company in the Masterpiece line, which is Takara? Why would they do that? Unless they knew for sure Takara wasn't going to make it. And I think all these third-party companies had an inside track on it. Like, you can make this because we're not going to make it. We're not going to bother you. I don't truly know how to explain it. But why else would they have put a huge investment into such a character that could just get annihilated when Takara put theirs out? I mean, that is a real legitimate fear, a legitimate concern. Now, I don't have either one of these figures, and I don't have a picture of them combined, but Hasbro's got a picture of this. So this is kind of how they combine. I don't even know if this is, I don't know. Is this the original Star Saber? Is this, I don't know. I truly don't. But anyway, that's kind of how it works together if you're interested. And no, we did not get that from Takara. Very Sinister. You had to go to third party. So the next thing is kind of just stopping making Masterpiece figures and only reissuing old figures from 2012. MPG 19 Soundwave, Condor, T-Spark, MPG. So this is Sinister in a way that I have never, ever seen Takara rework the mold if they reissue it. The only thing I've seen is that MP03 was Starscream, MP11 was Starscream, and they changed mold changes, but they gave it a whole new number. It's like a big to-do. This is our new figure. Well, it was they made some changes. They made it better, but it didn't look like he had like sheaths, sword sheaths on his side. But they gave it another number. This thing is, they could have done something with that kibble on the side of the legs. They could have cleaned this figure up a little bit more. They could have done a few things. They chose not to, and they're putting it out. And they have the audacity to charge you $174 for this. Now, I'm using TF Source pricing on this simply because you can see the price. It shows he doesn't quite have the price up on all that stuff just yet, but also when it's supposed to be in September. Now, when you look back, Takara had the audacity to charge you, well, at the time, $200, now I guess $300. To get a Rat Bat, you had to buy a whole other figure that most collectors didn't want. Now, I will put this out there. Some did want this. Some really like Sound Blaster. But for people to have to put out $200 just to get what's effectively like a $20 little figure, which really is only like, what, $1.12 in plastic at most. But yeah, that was Sinister. Now, I will give them credit. Now, you can't get the one that's got this look to it. I do believe the new one is going to be more animation accurate. But you have to pay $84 to get the 3-pack. That is better than making you buy what says now a $300 figure to get that little Rat Bat. But, back in the day, I bought the official, but as soon as the KOs came out, I sold my official and just have my KO Rat Bat. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. People have problems with KOs, but that was the only other way to get a Rat Bat was a KO. And the batch KOs I got, I think really were Takara overstock. And if you look at this and you just start analyzing how many lazy repaints is Takara putting out versus new Masterpiece. Oh, some of the stuff didn't even load. Oh, man. I might have to go back and resnap this picture. I don't know. In editing, I might resnap it. But it's almost all lazy repaints, or it's something that's no longer Masterpiece. Yeah, we got this Style Gen Optimus Prime, which that's cool in theory. But if you already got an MP44, you don't need that. And if you've already got Magic Squares, you definitely don't need that. But, I passed on it. I'll get a KO of it, though, one day. But yeah, this is like dropping out of the Masterpiece is quite Sinister. Lazy repaints for a crazy price is Sinister. Now, I got to tell you, I do like the options that we have out there for RC. But I will say this, none of them are definitive. None of them are perfect. None of them, I don't think we're never going to see a Transforming RC that is perfect. We're not. And every one of them have flaws, issues, something with them. I think MMC is still the best figure of all of them. I do think that Takara has the best figure. Hourglass. Okay. But repainting it to prototype, I don't think this is going to go over very well. But again, it's Takara. And Takara is going to sell no matter what. People are going to buy Takara no matter what. I don't know how much longer, though, with them dipping out of Masterpiece, them kind of going some strange direction, multiple strange directions at the same time. I don't know how long that's going to go on. I don't know how much longer they can have that market dominance, and I really think they are losing market dominance to Fans Toys and X-Transbots right now. One of the other things is that we are going to get Rat-Bat, so I'm going to give them a compliment for helping us sort of finish out a team. But at the same time, they're stopping Beast Wars. It's Robot. Is it Robot Toys? Oh, I gotta look that one up. Robot Toys. That's perpetuating this, and it does suck. It is Sinister that they do stuff like that. But the fact that they're giving us Rat-Bat, I'll take it. But I truly don't see anything past Rat-Bat. At all. At all. That's just my thought process. Now again, I only pointed out a few things they did that I feel are sinister, but it's enough to make a whole video to fill up a video of things Takara did that were sinister. This doesn't even get into the MPG stuff very much. This doesn't get into more or less the future is more or less without Takara. The future of Masterpiece is without Takara. And that just is what it is. But what do you think about these topics? Where are you with the whole Takara situation? And did you see all of this as it was going on? Or does the ability to be living in the future right now, looking back with 2020 vision, help everybody? Let me know in the comments. So like and subscribe, and Tiberium Hanger out.